There are very few people whose words become a part of our childhood. For millions of Indians, Ruskin Bond is one of them. Long before social media and smartphones, there were school libraries, rainy afternoons, train journeys, and the beautiful joy of getting lost in a Ruskin Bond book. This year, the 92-year-old's new book, Laugh With Me, is a warm, comforting read full of witty and funny recollection of Ruskin's everyday adventures. He reminds us that beneath the wise storyteller is someone who has always looked at life with humour. As someone who grew up reading all his work, this conversation is so deeply personal. But today isn't just about the books, it's about the man behind them. Whether you've read every Ruskin Bond book ever written, or you haven't even read a single page, this conversation has something for you. A little boy who lost his father at 10, a man who chose India when he could have chosen elsewhere, a writer who spent decades in the mountains, observing nature, loneliness, love, happiness, and the changing face of an entire nation. A storyteller who has a story with everyone, from Jawaharlal Nehru and Indira Gandhi to Satyajit Ray and Priyanka Chopra, a man who was once mistaken for an American spy, and someone who, despite witnessing nearly a century of change, never lost his sense of wonder. That's what makes this conversation different. Ladies and gentlemen, it's an absolute honor to welcome one of India's most loved storytellers, Padma Bhushan awardee, Sahitya Academy Fellowship recipient, and a writer who has shaped generations through his work, Mr. Ruskin Bond, aka Rusty.
Mere lal dupatta mal ke oji. I had to kiss Priyanka Chopra on the cheek in a fatherly fashion. Living in Europe or in England is extremely boring compared to life out here. I used to have nightmares about having to leave India. I had a brief friendship with a Vietnamese girl. She was very nice. She used to tell your fortune in tea leaves. So when I asked her to marry me, she looked in my cup and said, I did meet and interview Indira Gandhi, yes.
How was that experience?
A bit scary.
Welcome to Humans of Bombay. This is an honor of a lifetime for me. I've grown up reading all your books, and I mean all.
Thank you. It's nice to know that. It's nice to always to meet someone who's sort of been reading my books over the years.
Yeah.
Because they know more about me than I know about myself sometimes.
And I just met my 10-year-old nephew. He's reading your books.
Oh, good.
It's incredible. It's across generations what you've created.
That's great. And it's good that young people are reading in an age where there's so many other distractions. But I keep meeting young people who do read, and I think it's wrong to say that kids don't read anymore, because I feel they never. Even when I was a boy, only a few. It was a minority who read, in school, and so it's always been a minority pastime.
Yeah. So I have to ask you this. You've lived such an incredible life filled with so much poetry, the mountains, books, love, loss, loneliness, success, so many different emotions. Who is the real Ruskin Bond?
Who's the real Ruskin Bond?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I ask myself that question. I guess I'm a born romantic in a way. And I perhaps for many years saw the world through colored glass. In fact, as a small boy, one of my first impressions was of looking through colored glass in Jamnagar, where I was a small boy, 5 or 6 years old. There was this Maharani who lived at the top of an old palace, and she had a room and all the window panes were of different glass. And I would love to go to that room just to look through the window panes and see a different colored world. And I guess I've been seeing a different colored world ever since, in a way, through my writings, as you say, stories, poetry, autobiography, and, well, anything that I feel like writing.
You know, now we're in the age of AI, in the age of artificial intelligence.
Sorry?
In the age of AI, where people think writing is a dying art because you can put on a prompt and you get a story.
Right.
What would you say to them?
Well, there are different ways of writing. I guess we go back to the time of Dickens when he'd dip a pen in ink and scratch away for hours on end and produce these huge volumes and novels, not only he, but other writers. So I guess it's really a question of putting words to paper. And I think if you prefer to do it on we used to do it on typewriters once.
Yeah.
And I used to use a typewriter till I got a crick in the neck, and then I found it easier to write by hand.
Yeah.
So till I recently wrote everything by hand. But if somebody prefers to, as long as they're writing, I feel that people should be writing something. So if they want to do it on their laptop or on the phone, it's all right by me. But of course, I think it would come out a bit differently, because in the very process of writing by hand, you're personally in touch with the instruments with which you're writing. Something of your personality might just go through the pen and onto the paper.
Yeah.
And perhaps that it doesn't happen to that extent with something of a technological nature.
Mm-hmm.
So I think writing has it has changed, and now you hear of artificial intelligence helping writers, helping all kinds of people actually.
Yeah.
But I think the very word artificial gives it away, because artificial, what does it mean? It means not genuine, not true. It's something made up. So I think I prefer real intelligence to artificial intelligence. And I think we should just let ourselves go when we write and not try to be too clever. We're all imperfect, so let's celebrate our imperfection.
So lovely. You started writing at a very, very young age. You were a published author in your teens. How much of your writing comes from real life experiences?
Oh, a lot of it. A lot of my writing comes from real life experiences. I'm a very personal kind of writer, almost a diarist, And in fact, some of my favorite books are diaries, the diaries of Samuel Pepys or others over the centuries who kept interesting diaries, and not only about themselves but about the world around them. So you're seeing the world in a way through your own life and through your own personality and experience. And so you come into it yourself. So I think it's perhaps one reason that's kept me going as a writer, is that I've always sort of managed to produce something from within, which is part of my own being and part of my own life. And that doesn't end, because as long as one is alive, you're experiencing something. It may not be a love affair or something of a tremendous nature, but you could just be involved in the in the growth of a plant, or the progress of a snail across the road, or a ladybird on your desk. Everything means something.
Yeah.
And so you don't run out of ideas, because it's not ideas, it's actually things that are visible. So I'm a very, you could say, visual writer.
Yeah.
I write about what I see, and I try to see the poetry in it, if possible.
A lot of your books have a father character. Is it because you faced loss of your father very early on in life? And what did that mean to you?
The one reason why he remains so living a presence, even 80 years after he passed away, was that I was with him for a very short time. At a time when I was myself receiving a lot of impressions from the world around me. I was 8 years old, 9 years old, and I was entirely with him for 2 years, or nearly 3 years, because my parents had separated and I was living with my father. And in spite of the fact that he had a job and he had work to do, he gave me all his time, all the time he could. So in a way, we were involved in each other's lives, and if he took me for walks, it would be, say in Delhi in those days, it would be to old monuments, the Qutub Minar, the Red Fort, the old fort, to the old, where Humayun had a library, and he would show me the steps down which the emperor tumbled to his death. So all these things also were stories in a way, and they made me interested in people and in history. And then he was an avid stamp collector, and I would help him with that. He had a very valuable collection, which unfortunately disappeared when he died. And so then he finally had to put me in boarding school because he was in the Air Force and it was World War II, and he was being transferred here and there. And it was while I was in school that I heard that he died. And it was something I never got over quite. I guess it happens to other people in that way. But since I was already writing a little, although my first efforts were lists of books I was reading, lists of films I'd seen, lists of music that I liked, lists of flowers, lists of trees, list of friends. I was writing lists. And then, of course, gradually I found that those lists had to become something more. And some of them started becoming stories. Before I'd finished school, I was writing stories, and first effort was in an exercise book in which it was again a diary, and I had put down my impressions of my headmaster and principal and classmaster, and it fell into their hands, and I got into trouble. So, and it was torn up. It wasn't any good, actually. No great loss to literature, but it was the beginning in a way. And so by the time I'd finished school, I decided I just wanted to be a writer. And I had all started by keeping a journal or a diary. And that's something I've done off and on all my life. Not something I have to, put down every day, but just when I felt like it. And so some of those journal entries became stories.
Wow.
In a way.
Yeah.
So that's why they're very personal, as you asked. And there's so much of myself in them.
Yeah. Can one ever get over the loss of a loved one?
I don't think so. Not if it's been a very Um, there's a song from my childhood I remember, can there be a story without an end? And it's a riddle, and the answer to that, a story of I love you has no ending. And so I think you don't ever get over the loss of someone you've deeply loved and who's been a part of your life at an impressionable age, or at any age. Yes, I think you don't really. Sometimes even people we haven't loved somehow are like ghosts. They keep coming upon you, and you feel you have to say something about them too. So as a writer, you can't just concentrate on the loved ones. You've got to sometimes write about the unloved too. But there aren't many who were unloved, I have to say. I think I've been fortunate in my life to have had friends and now a family who've grown up. She's here, and her father grew up as a baby in my arms in 1973. And since then, the family has grown around me. So I'm a family without getting married, which I suppose is very convenient. At the same time, I did want to get married at one time, but that was long ago. My proposal was not accepted, I'm afraid.
Why did you choose never to get married?
No, I didn't choose never to get married. I was quite prepared to get married. I wanted to when I was in my 20s. So I kept falling in love, you see, but just as well I didn't get married. I'd have ended up with all sorts of complications. Because, but no, I did want to, but somehow fate decreed that it wouldn't happen, and so there it is. But looking back, no regrets. No regrets. I think I've had a good long innings, and I'm a writer without regrets, you could say.
Wow. So what is love?
What is love?
What is love?
Love.
You've fallen in love so many times. You've fallen in love so many times.
Yes.
So what is love?
Oh, love is, well, I get different. Sometimes you can just be attracted at first sight to somebody. You know, what's that old song? Across a crowded room, you exchange a glance with somebody, and a certain charisma occurs. I'm sorry for the pun on your name.
I'm most delighted.
And that can be a fleeting love too. Suddenly falling in love, infatuation, that can pass quickly. I think the deeper love is sometimes, now I'm not talking of my father, I'm talking of, say, somebody I might have loved when I was in my 20s or 30s, but we were separated. And after that, I've always felt a sort of longing after something lost. I put it that way, a longing after something lost. A sort of feeling that something nice could have happened but didn't happen. And I guess something that's all happens to most of us. Maybe in a way we miss, we feel, oh, that person was special. Where is she now? And I did follow up on a girl I knew when I was in my 30s, and she's now a grandmother with a dozen kids all over around her, and then I look and I'm amused and think, well, maybe it's a good thing I didn't get married.
Have you been heartbroken?
Have I been?
Heartbroken?
Heartbroken, yes, a few times. Oh, yeah. I was a lovesick character on more than one occasion. Yes. In London, actually, when I was 19, 20, I had a brief friendship with a Vietnamese girl, and she used to, she was very nice. She used to tell your fortune in tea leaves. You know, in those days, tea would come in tea leaves. And when you finished your cup of tea, the tea leaves would be at the bottom.
Yeah.
And she would study the tea leaves in your cup and tell your fortune. And so when I asked her to marry me, she looked in my cup and said, Ruskin, the tea leaves don't say we're going to get married. So that was her way of putting it. And I was, yes, lovesick. I used to follow her around. I was what you call what's the word for it nowadays? Almost when you just keep following somebody and for some time.
A stalker?
Stalker, yes. I was a stalker. Well, for a month or so.
For a month.
Until she finally made it clear that she didn't want to be stalked. So there it is. But I wonder what happened to her. That's another feeling, some sort of feeling of a longing after something that's sort of eluded you. And maybe that's why some of my early short stories are of a romantic nature. And stories like Night Train at Deoli and Shamli and all, they were all written in the 1950s. And when I was in my 20s, so they're very romantic, and they're set on railway stations or trains. So there's a feeling of passing by, of coming and going, and of a lack of permanence. So my stories in a way do reflect my life at different periods, which is going back to your initial question.
How did you take on fame?
How do I take?
On fame. When people started appreciating your writing, what did that do to you?
Oh, well, it's good to know that someone has got some pleasure out of a book or a story that I've written. And but having written now for so long, 70, 75 years, I mean, I don't succumb easily to, to a lot of fanfare and, publicity or, people coming for selfies and that sort of thing. There's a lot of that, you see, now.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have much fame, you see, because for the first 20, 30 years, I was just writing in a way without an audience, because in the 1950s, 60s, I was getting published in magazines, but in India we didn't have book publishers then. We didn't. Well, they were just school book publishers and academic publishers, but nobody was publishing here literature or novels or poetry. So I had to look abroad for my early books, The Room on the Roof, and then a number of children's books. And it's only after 1980, in the 80s, that sort of publishing came of age in India. And now there are, of course, a number of publishers who are very active, and I have a few, and they keep me going. But in the early days, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I used to live on writing for magazines and newspapers, really. But a lot of those were short stories that are now in collected book form, and are better known now than they were then, you could say.
Yeah.
It was never intended, and it was never foreseen, but somehow, well, I've lived so long up in the hills and in the mountains, and the fact that so many of the stories are set there in the hills and have emanated from there, and so that's probably, yeah, I guess many writers do get associated with a particular region or place. R.K. Narayan had his Malgudi, and Kushwan Singh had his Delhi, and you had other writers who were maybe not only in India but elsewhere, who you always associate with a certain area, Jane Austen country or Thomas Hardy country, or
What is it about the mountains that made you fall in love?
fall in love with the mountains.
Yeah.
I think, well, it's, I don't know, maybe it's just that I went to school in the hills, and later when and I was born in the hills, and later when I got fed up of living and working in Delhi in the 1960s, early 60s, where I'd temporarily taken a job because the money from writing wasn't coming in. So, but I threw up that job. I felt I had to go back to freelancing, and I did. And I went up to Missouri partly because I knew the area from having grown up in Dehradun too, and in those days, it was a retreat, a very cheap place for a writer to live in. I rented a cottage, a 5-room cottage, for 400 rupees per annum. I'm not saying per month, I'm saying per annum. That cottage nowadays, somebody will be asking for 3 or 4 crore rupees for times have changed. But that time, hill stations were going through a slump, and houses were empty. So just ideal for a writer who was looking for somewhere to hide and write and not have to depend on too much money. And gradually, I think, as I walked, I liked walking always. I'm not in the sense of climbing mountains or conquering peaks or anything, but just walking in the hills, and looking at the birds and the wildlife and the wildflowers and things that grew and the village people. So I used to walk quite a lot and stop at villages too, and so it's not hill station life that attracted me or held me. It's just the mountains themselves, which were there before the hill stations came up. After all, they're only about 200 years old. All these hill stations are just dumped up there on a mountaintop for people to come and enjoy their summer break, but without actually any history or real depth of history. And And so that's what they are today, pleasure resorts. But if you really care for the mountains, you will want to go further into them and explore. Because walking also in the mountains is different in that every time you take a bend in the road, the scene changes. You have a different perspective. Whereas in the plains, it's a flat, long road, and the scene doesn't change for about 50 miles. So, although I'm happy to walk in the plains too, but it's different.
It's different.
It's you're not seeing you're not finding something different, every half hour or hour.
Yeah. A lot of young people want to move to the mountains in India. What would you say to them?
Young people
Want to move to the mountains.
Yes, well, I can, if they want to move to live in the mountains, I can understand that. But it's difficult to make a living up there. I mean, it's hard enough for the poor village people in the surrounding villages. They have to survive on seasonal crops, on monsoon rain very often because there's no irrigation, or just, certain crops, or they bring their products into the town. So how would a young person make a living? Because, say, a hill station like Missouri, it's basically hotels, restaurants, cafes, shops. So you want to be a shopkeeper, all right. All right. Or if you want to be a teacher, there are schools. Most hill stations have schools. So you can be a teacher. But what else? I went because I wasn't looking for work in a hill station. I was just looking for an escape.
Yeah.
And a place where I could write. And so for a writer, maybe it's ideal. A young writer to live in the hills, definitely. And there are people I know now who spend some time in the hills, but must return to Bombay or Delhi or Calcutta or wherever they make a living frequently. Now, my next door neighbor is Vishal Bhardwaj, but I see him once a year because he's busy making films in Bombay. So, no matter how much he'd love to be in Missouri, he can't. So that applies to anybody who has to make a living. There is no employment there. There's no employment except, well, in connection with tourism.
Yeah.
So it's purely tourism, you see. So young people who want to live in the hills, well, if they have some money, they can maybe get some land and farm it, but there are problems about getting land too.
You spoke about escape. A lot of people today are unhappy because of technology, because of how fast the world is. What is the art of being happy?
The art of being happy, hard to say, I guess. It's to be maybe making a living doing what you enjoy most, which is probably what made me happy, the fact that I was able to make a living, though, I wasn't writing bestsellers, but I made a reasonable living from my writing. And I've done that for the greater part of my life. So that in itself gives you a certain satisfaction, a feeling of contentment, or think I've done what I wanted to do. I'm still doing it. And so I think to be able to go through life doing doing the thing you really want to do. I guess so many people get sidelined or, get into maybe professions or where they're not really happy, or force themselves maybe to do a certain kind of work because it pays more, or because there's more money involved. So I think if you want to be happy, you must maybe take a risk. Take a risk and pursue the vocation that you really want to pursue. Which it does involve taking a risk, because I took a risk, and my mother kept telling me, Ruskin, why don't you join the army?
Yeah.
I think I'd have made a nice sergeant major, drill sergeant.
I think you make a wonderful writer. So it's good that you became a writer and an author. You've spent a lifetime observing people. What do you think is the one thing people are chasing that eventually doesn't matter?
Yes, they're chasing rainbows. And the end of the rainbow suddenly disappears. It's suddenly gone. But yeah, I guess everybody is chasing something. But very often, if they're chasing sort of material, I don't mean to say one shouldn't. Of course, we all need certain comforts and the feeling of stability that, nobody wants to be on the street begging. So we have to do something, but sometimes the priority is given to material success. And yet this is a spiritual land. Strange contrast we have in India of spirituality and materialism. Both are there in very strong measure. The spirituality is there very strong of course, in the poor and in the rural folk, because they depend a lot on religion, on their faith, which is what keeps them going in a way, in difficult circumstances. So that's very understandable. Whereas if you've grown up in a more comfortable setting or background, maybe you don't worry so much about religion. You're thinking more in terms of what you can get out of life. So both things are here very much not in competition, but side by side in a way.
Yeah. Speaking of which, you've observed India over a large period of time. How has India changed the most?
Well, India, how has it changed? It's been a gradual change, because I've grown up as a small boy in Delhi with my father. It was World War II was going on, the Quit India movement was going on, although we were not personally affected. Then independence came, the partition was there, followed immediately after. There was a lot of bloodshed and a lot of trouble and heartbreak. And then things settled down then for some time. The Nehru years were I remember them as being fairly stable until, of course, wars came with China and Pakistan and, and then and then the world around us changed. And when the world around you changes, you have to either change with it, or you find yourself in a awkward situation, you might say. But life in India, let's say, it's become very, very crowded in the sense of every village has become a small town. Every town has become a city. Every city has become a mega city. There is no town I can think of that where the population hasn't jumped. Take Dehradun, where we are sitting now. When I was a boy here in 1950, the population was only 40 to 50,000 souls. 40 to 50,000, it's now, I don't know, 10, 15 lakhs, I don't know, I don't think anybody knows, but it's it's sky high. And that applies to many other places. That's why you see maybe so much dense traffic on the roads, people everywhere. And when there are a lot of people, sometimes you get disasters like, where crowds assemble. These things happen off and on. Well, you can't do anything about it. Family planning is history. But one thing is, young people today, I've noticed, especially young people who maybe had a westernized education, they are not keen on they're not keen on getting married and having children. Now, I've noticed that in a lot of young people I've talked to, maybe later they will, or they'll come under family pressure, but they all say, no, we want to concentrate on our career, on what we want to do in life. We don't want to get tied down. We don't want to start having a brood of children, So they're thinking very much in terms of their own passage through life. And seeing it from no doubt a selfish point of view, but an understandably selfish point of view. So they don't want to be saddled with, lots of children and grandchildren and a whole brood, like that girlfriend of my youth.
What has drawn you back to India or to continue living in India for your whole life?
Oh yeah, no, I love India. I love everything about it. I just love the land. I love the dust, you could say. The dust of India. I grew up loving trees and animals and forests and people, and it's so different, The little I saw of the West when I did go abroad when I was young, it left me cold, let me say. Whereas in India, there's something happening all the time.
Yeah.
Well, let's say there's never a dull moment. It's living in Europe or in England is extremely boring and dull. I mean, compared to life out here. No doubt it's more difficult here for the average person, maybe, but and I know so many young people want to go abroad and make a life in other countries because they feel there's more opportunities there. That's understandable too, but no, for me, I used to have nightmares about having to leave India. Once I got back from England in my 20s, I dreaded the thought of going away again. It was a nightmare for me, and and because it's not it's not the same anywhere. It's different from one. Not just from one state to another, but from one village to another, you could say sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
And everything is different. The trees, the flowers, the plants, the animals, the heroes, the villains, everyone.
You met Jawaharlal Nehru as a young boy.
I didn't meet him.
No?
No, I was just a boy. How could I meet him? I went to when I was 20 or 21, I went to a talk he gave in New Delhi in some auditorium, some government auditorium. And it was a very entertaining talk because he spoke about, he'd had his books published in the UK. So he was talking about publishers and books. And so for a writer, it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was not a political talk.
Yeah, which was interesting.
It was a literary evening.
Yeah.
I did meet and interview Indira Gandhi, yes.
How was that experience?
A bit scary. Yeah, she was a very powerful woman.
Yeah.
And I was nervous. I was nervous, so I forgot all the questions I was going to ask her.
Oh my God.
But again, it was not a political interview. I was writing a children's book on her father, Pandit Nehru, and I wanted just a few comments or impressions from her, which she gave me. And I read Nehru's jail diaries, the original. He had a very neat handwriting, and a very nice person I met at that time, because she was looking after the Nehru Memorial Fund, was Padmaja Naidu, who was the daughter of Sarojini Naidu, the poet and governor, I think, of West Bengal. She'd been in politics. And Padmaja Naidu was very, very sweet lady who corresponded with me for some time. She read a lot. She used to read a lot. She was a great reader. Yeah. It's always interesting to meet people who read a lot also, because there's lots to talk about. You know, you might have read the same authors, or you might have differing views on them. So it's, I think maybe some of my early friendships were good ones, were based on an interest in
Reading.
In books and writing.
And you're becoming, I mean, of course you are an author, but you've written another book at the age of 92. Laugh With Me.
And then I've also done a little book for another publisher, Harper, called Laugh With Me, which is almost part of a series I was doing on how to do different things. So it's really on how to laugh at yourself. So what I've said in it is that we would all be a good deal happier if we could laugh at ourselves, which we seldom do, because most people take themselves very seriously and get offended if somebody laughs at them. So it's a number of stories about the funny things that have happened to me, not to other people. If I write about funny things that happen to other people, they'll get offended. But if I write about funny things that have happened to me, they'll laugh.
What is the funniest thing that has happened to you?
Some very funny things have happened. Well, there was once I wrote an article on a man-eating leopard, and there were photographs after it had got shot, but they got the captions mixed up. So the caption under the dead leopard was said, "Well done, author Ruskin Bond," and the caption under my photograph said, "Deadly man-eater from Common."
That's so
So
funny.
that's the sort of thing that happens to me.
It's whimsical.
So we need to, I think God's greatest lift to humanity is a sense of humor. If one has a sense of humor, you can get through most of life's crises and problems. Not all of them, and not all at once, but it does help. It does help.
It does
if you
help.
can see the funny side of things.
Yeah, absolutely. What is a day in the life of Ruskin Bond at 92?
Well, at 92, here I am in this beautiful guest house in Dehradun, where they look after me very well, and I've got family with me too. And you see, a few months ago, I'd lost the use of my legs. I was suddenly collapsing. I couldn't walk. This was up in Missouri, and I was in pain too. So Rakesh and Bina, they brought me down to a hospital here, and I had some spinal surgery. And I've recovered very well, except that I'm taking a long time getting back on my feet. I think partly due to my age and partly due to maybe the condition itself. But otherwise, I've been, unfortunately, my eyesight is not good enough to allow me to read. But she stays that she takes, if I want to dictate something, I write it to a publisher, and then since I have a vivid imagination, I'm writing stories in my head all the time. I've written quite a few. I don't know if they're any better. They might not be very good, since I'm not normally a person who dictates. So they might be liking my usual style. But let's see. It's something, anyway, better to write something than not to write at all. And so I am putting things together. I have to, because the stories keep running in my head. I have this imagination that runs away with me. And so there's that, and then I eat well.
Are you eating
I believe
pickles?
you brought me some pickle.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I like different pickles. Yes, all kinds. Mango, garlic, shalgam, that Punjabi turnip pickle, and of course jackfruit pickle and lime pickle, and well, I could go on and on. And I told you I started my writing career with lists.
Yeah. And here we are,
So
listing pickles.
A list of pickles now.
Yeah.
A book of pickles.
A book of pickles.
The pickled author.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some fun questions, and you have to reply only in one word. No more.
With one word, okay, I have to be alert.
Yes, to be alert. What is one book everyone should read?
Oh, Wuthering Heights,
Oh, yeah. Your favorite book that you've authored?
that I read.
That you've authored?
Oh, my favorite book that I authored, Room on the Roof.
Your favorite author?
My favorite author was, very, who was my favorite author? I suppose it was Dickens when I was growing up. And but over the years, so many authors keep changing, favorites keep changing.
Anyone contemporary?
Contemporary, well, yes, I like reading the detective stories of Patricia Highsmith and others, yes, nice, gaudy ones.
Okay. Have you read Harry Potter?
I read one of them, yes.
Yes.
An early one.
Okay. One place.
Harry Potter did a lot for children's writing, yes.
Yeah. One place in India everyone should visit.
One place in India everyone should visit. The one place in India that everyone should visit, but I think right central of India, Jabalpur.
Okay. One thing young people overvalue.
One thing young people overvalue, I think, hot dogs and hamburgers.
One thing in India young people undervalue.
One thing they undervalue is their wonderful is the fact that they have the best trees and forests and fruit and plants in the world.
One childhood memory you'll never forget.
One childhood memory I'll never forget was, there's so many, but the one that, well, does it have to be a nice memory? Or
Any memory.
any memory? Okay, I was a football goalkeeper and I dived for the ball, and the opponent's boot got me in the teeth, and I've still got a broken tooth and these widened over here. So I can't forget it.
One word that describes happiness for you.
One word that describes happiness. Joy.
One word that describes India.
India. Wonderland.
Wonderland. Your favorite Indian song.
Favorite Indian song?
Yeah.
Well, I used to sing a few of them. Now you're going to ask me to sing. No.
The next one was that. One line. One line.
One line. There was that song. Mera lal dapatta mal mal ke oji oji. But I forget the rest anyway.
Okay.
Very old song.
Very old song. Very old song. Okay. So here we are. We've approached towards the end. What are your words of wisdom to live a full life like yourself?
Words of wisdom?
To live a full, well-lived life.
Oh gosh, words of wisdom don't really come to me easily. Words of wisdom to lead a full life. Live according to your nature. Be yourself. Be yourself. And you'll be happy. Don't try to be somebody else. Be yourself. And I think you'll be reasonably happy.
Yeah. Okay. And
thank you. Thank you.
A lot of, last question, a lot of future generations will watch this video and be enamored by your books. What would you want them to remember?
What do I want them to?
To remember and...
Of me, of my books.
Of you, of your books.
Oh, I'd like them to remember, my books, what I've... the best things I've written. If they can continue to give a little pleasure to readers in the future, young people, that would be wonderful. I mean, I won't be around to enjoy the appreciation, but well, who knows? I might come back with a parrot and a mango tree or something like that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your time. It's been so lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you for an enjoyable conversation and talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. I got only one role in films and nobody offered me another after that.
Which role in films?
Sat Khoon Maaf.
Oh, yeah.
I had to kiss Priyanka Chopra on the cheek in a fatherly fashion.
Yeah.
So I had a problem distinction between fatherly and unfatherly. But she was very sporting about it. He made me take 7 takes, but after the 7th take, he said, "Mr. Bond, I think you're doing this deliberately."